with John Impemba and James Grande.
What is going on, FANation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook live show. It is New Year's Eve. We have a 4-game main slate on tap starting at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, running to 9 p.m. We got 2 9 p.m.s, an 8 p.m. and a 7 p.m. on this main slate. Grande, happy New Year's Eve to you, sir.
Happy New Year's Eve to you. 2025, it's going to be tough to remember to write that down every time I'm doing something. First month, I wonder if there's people out there that are just okay, just automatically yep, got it. 2025, not going to even ever write 2020, because for as long as I've lived, I can't figure it out for at least in February. That's when I start figuring it out.
I put the wrong date on our preview show 3 times a week. How am I supposed to now get the year?
That's true. That's brutal.
Almost a couple times a week, I wake up to a message from you in the morning being like, "You did it again. You put last night's date on today's show," and I was like, "Yeah, I have that problem." Fortunately, you guys still tune in. You still click on it and watch it because YouTube timestamps it correctly. Yep. But I don't. So there's that. Happy New Year's Eve to all of you as well. Let me know what you guys are doing for New Year's Eve. Grande, you got 2 little kiddos. Are you staying up till midnight tonight to watch the ball drop, or you get a nice early bedtime? What do you got going on here tonight?
I'm doing absolutely nothing. We're gonna order from our favorite Italian restaurant.
Okay.
And we're gonna eat our faces off, top it off with a little cannoli at the end, and then I'm probably gonna stay up and watch basketball. And if I happen to be up at midnight, I happen to be up at midnight. Sure. Because here's what I'm hoping for, John. I'm hoping I'm up at that time because then I have a sweat going.
Right.
If not, I'll just go to bed. I will just probably end up just going to bed if I'm nowhere near the cash line.
What's the go-to Italian order?
So if we're not doing pizza,
okay,
I'll usually do a penne alla vodka or stuffed shells. Those are my two. Those are my go-to pasta.
I'm a chicken parm guy all the way.
Chicken parm guy.
Dinner, chicken parm sub, whatever it
is. Did you guys, whoever's listening, did you just hear John's? And John is smiling because he knows he did it, and he tried to move past it. Did you guys just hear that Boston accent come through with a chicken parm dinner? Oh my God! You tried to just.
It comes out every now and then.
When you're talking about chicken parm, you can't help yourself. I see. Holy cow!
Well, chicken parm dinner. It came out. All right, that's fine. You know what? One last one for 2024. Anyways,
the fact that you even started smiling, you were like,
I knew it.
Got me.
As soon as I said it.
Yep.
It's like spilling sauce on yourself. All right, let's get into this 4-game main slate. We do appreciate you guys who are tuning in here. If you want to hit that like, that share, that subscribe button, primate and chat. Happy New Year's Eve, fam. Happy New Year's Eve to you as well. Sean Penny wants some chicken parm. Of course, you want some chicken parm.
Chicken parm.
Way to go here. We got our holiday sale still going on. No, we got to get that. Wrong button. There it is. Holiday sale still going on. 50% off for all of 2025. That's fantasyalarm.com/holiday. $19.98 a month for the entire calendar year. Access to all content. Just released a PGA DFS Playbook today for the Century Tournament of Champions. Our guy Jacob Parry making his Fantasy Alarm debut. You got to go check that out. NBA DFS Playbooks, NHL, the MLB Draft Guides releasing soon, the cheat sheet, and all the goodness that comes with that, including also next year's Fantasy Football Draft Guide, Fantasy Football Content, DFS. You cover it all for 50% off. So sign up right now, fantasyalarm.com/holiday. The promo code FAHoliday should automatically populate for you. Just add that promo code and become a member of the Fantasy Alarm family today. All right, 4 games. Clippers, Spurs kick it off 7 p.m. Eastern time. They finish it off with Memphis, Phoenix. That's your late night hammer with that. Cleveland and LA as well. SGA is your top price player overall in this slate. He's got Minnesota. Got James Harden at $9,300. It's a small slate, so smaller player pools. Pricing drops down. SGA, second highest overall payout. We have 3 over 10K. Where does he rank among your plays today?
So, usually I would say this is a terrible spot for him because it is. And usually I wouldn't target people against Minnesota because I don't. I'm a little, on smaller slates, you'll hear us say it all the time. Like there's got to be things you do differently than the field, right?
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota or Memphis is, there's 7 guys in Memphis that are 20% higher rostership. 7 players with 20% or more rostership. Victor Wembanyama is by far and away the highest rostered spend up of the day.
Sure.
Nobody is playing SGA. Nobody. And I get it. Like, it's not an easy spot. He's more expensive than he's been all year, except for the Memphis game. But, sometimes you need to get leverage. Sometimes when SGA is going good, there's nothing the opposing team can do about that.
Right.
And it just is one of those things where Jaden McDaniels is guarding SGA. Can Jaden McDaniels stay out of foul trouble? Because if he can't, well, then Nickeil Alexander-Walker comes in, and there's a distinct gap of like length between those two players that SGA is just going to exploit. Like he's going to take, and we've seen that in times like when McDaniels gets in foul trouble against Luka. NAW's dust against Luka. Luka's so much bigger, but like SGA is a 6'5", 6'6", like he's a big point guard. So if McDaniels is at all in foul trouble, SGA is going to go for 60 again, and no one's going to play him. So, like I still rank Wemby ahead of him in like cash, and I still rank Wemby ahead of him like in single entry. But in tournaments, I think there's extremely great leverage playing SGA versus Wemby, and there's probably because there's so much Memphis value, there's probably a case that you can play both of them.
Sure.
But I really like SGA leverage in tournaments. Again,
we talk about that a lot, right? Smaller slates here, find spots to be different. Obviously, if the field is spinning up for Wemby, and we know why, he went for 70 the last time he played the Clippers. He's got 80, 90 fantasy point upside. But if today is a day where maybe he only goes for 65, well, SGA can do that. Yep. And then you're saving the money and getting some of that leverage there. You got Harden. Again, last night he had a huge third quarter, and then the second half was just basically all Norm Powell.
Yeah, sure.
So again, like you're getting very consistent production out of James Harden, but we're not getting what we need price-wise for James Harden here, really. We need 46.5 fantasy points at $9,300. Gotten that once over the last 5. Now he has a couple of 40 actual games as well, but right now I don't think we're getting what we need out of Harden.
My feelings never change from James Harden. You said it. He has the 40 actual point game. When he makes shots and then they come in bunches, he will break a slate because he still has that like, oh, I'm feeling it tonight. I'm going to hit 7 threes and score 40. But he hasn't needed to do that because Norm has been so dominant scoring the basketball. So, yeah, I think Harden's fine. No one's playing the Clippers, another low-owned team. If you want to play James Harden at like pretty low ownership, then yeah, I'm good with that. But I prefer I prefer his compadres on the Clippers a little bit more, I think.
Sure. Going down to the next tier of actual point guards. Point guard only Austin Reeves, but we're expecting LeBron James back. Reeves has been ridiculous these last 2 games here, triple-doubled, and then a 16 assist game, 26 actual in both of those games, 60 and 58 fantasy points for him. You got Darius Garland, who had a really big game last night, as did the Clippers. Went and routed once again, another good team. Against Golden State. Yeah, Chris Paul, $6,300, and then the chalky Scottie Pippen Jr. there. Thoughts on Reeves? Can he keep it going with LeBron back?
I'm really indifferent about the Lakers in general because I mean, dude, the Cavs are just what they are. They are just like, let's just face it, right? Right now in the regular season, them and the Thunder are better than everyone else. That is just, it is what it is. Like they are. I'm not saying that's going to be how it's going to be later in the year or in the postseason, but right now, every game the Cavs plays, they win by double figures. And that's pretty much the same with the Thunder. If the Lakers can keep it close because LeBron's back and AD and Dorian Finney-Smith is available and they are getting all these new pieces implemented, then yeah, I think Garland is great, and Reeves is fine, and I think Garland is fine. I prefer Garland, I would say, to Reeves, just because we have benefited, the last, not the Christmas Day slate. Well, I take it back. AD got hurt 6 minutes into that game. Yeah. Austin Reeves has a triple-double. No LeBron second game. Austin Reeves has 26, 16, and 6, right? So he has benefited from each of those last two games, someone being out. Darius Garland is not going to have the same minute ceiling, I would say, as Austin Reeves does, but he hasn't needed it. We've gotten 40 fantasy points in 4 straight games, and
he's been unbelievable.
Unbelievable, dude. Last year, we've talked about it a lot. Bad year. This is who he was 2 years ago when he was an all-star. He's only played more than 33 minutes, just counting this, John, 4 times in 31 games this year. Yeah. Just goes to show you they just haven't needed to play these guys. It's going to help come playoff time, right? It's going to help.
You know what's really helping them? Go look at the sub pattern for the Cavs. You take Mitchell off the floor 4 minutes into the game.
Yep, him and Mobley. Mobley both. They're just off the floor immediately.
Yeah, and then Garland goes out there and basically runs things for 8 minutes, and then Mitchell comes back in, and does his thing here. But you're getting a lot of upside there out of Darius Garland in limited time. Let me ask you: do you think now they traded D'Angelo Russell? Do you think Shake Milton actually gets any amount of minutes here? Do you think he actually plays for them? Okay,
I do. I think. There's also reports that they're dangling Vincent out for a trade.
He's been hurt and then he hasn't really fit. So
I had this discussion with some people on our projections team. I have 10 Lakers playing today, and I X'd Reddish out as the 11th guy, keeping Vincent and Shake Milton in, and then Vincent's questionable. So if he doesn't play, Shake is playing all those backup minutes, and then you're going to get Reddish probably back in the rotation because Jackson Hayes is available too. So you have to assume Jackson Hayes is your backup center tonight. Finney Smith is active. Rui obviously is in the rotation. They're not going – dude, they've been really good with Max Christie. They're not going to not play really Max Christie. They win – they're winning with Max Christie too because he's good defensively. So I do think Shake – plays. What do I think he plays? Not enough to get there at 45, but I do think that he operates in low teens.
4-game slate. What's the ownership projection here for Scottie Pippen Jr. in your mind? I know what we got him at, so.
Single entries, he'll be 70%. Cash games, he'll be 80%.
We got him at 42 right now for tournaments. So, and that's large field GBPs, obviously. And you got to assume a decent sized bump there in single entries for sure.
Yeah, and there's again, we're gonna talk someone's gonna ask, or we're gonna talk about it. Max of Grizzlies tonight, you can legit make a case for 4 or 5, right? Because they're so cheap. Other than Triple J and Desmond Bane, they're just so incredibly cheap. And then you're like, well, where are the minutes coming from? Because they're, Kawamura, Castleton, and Spencer are going to probably play limited. I would say Spencer's probably the most likely to play of that group. But Pippen's going to play 30 plus minutes in a competitive game. And he is such a good fantasy player. So he's probably, John, and it's crazy to say, probably the first Grizzly I'd play tonight. Scottie Pippen would probably be the number one. I'm playing more. I'm going to play 4, maybe 5, depending on how my roster goes. But Scottie Pippen would be the first Grizzly I'm playing.
Smaller slate, so you can take some darts on some guys. Value plays, KPJ, Conley, Kaysen Wallace played the full 12 minutes in the first quarter the other day. Got AJ Mitchell comes in, subs at the end of the second, plays, or the end of the first quarter, plays first 6-7 minutes of the second quarter there. If you think blowouts, Ty Jerome's $3,500. Taking shots at any of these plays?
It's so funny that just Cleveland just boat races everybody that you just have to talk about it. No, I know. And every time he plays 20 minutes, he goes off. Probably not. Maybe AJ Mitchell, he's 3,700. He's in the rotation besides
Good
blowout.
kind of shot
No
volume
Caruso.
for his playing time. So,
dude, we said it on the show. How do the Thunder keep getting away with it?
And he's
right?
a bigger guard too. He's
they
6'5",
just keep
6'6", something like that. So.
Yep. Yeah. Probably Mitchell. And then there's a couple guys that have played guard shooting guard. We'll talk about it.
Shooting guard position. We are expecting Booker back tonight, right? Was that shoot around? I think I saw.
At shoot around, yeah, at shoot around. Full practice yesterday at shoot around. Again, doesn't always mean he's going to play, but obviously trending in the right.
This year, there's no more guarantees. We've seen guys be upgraded to probable, then ruled out. We've seen,
dude, Zach LaVine last night went from probable to out in like 10 seconds.
So Booker 92, Edwards 88, Donnie Mitch 84. Shout out Donovan Mitchell. Got there for me last night. My 6 of 6 underdog picks came through. After I was tilting hard after a 6-point first half. Beal 78, Bain 75, Norm Powell 74. We've been all in on Norm Powell a lot this year, and you said no one's playing Clippers. Are you going him or Bain at this point?
Well,
John, back.
I must say, I do like me some Desmond Bain tonight. He's only 28% rostered amongst the lowest of the Grizzlies. And John, what are we here at this program? We are a shot makers show. And I am making a lot of shots lately. So
we had to do one more Bain for the 2024 season.
With all that said, Norm Powell is definitely the pivot off of this.
Definitely the pivot off of Desmond Bain. If Booker does get ruled out, I would play Bradley Beal.
Dude, for sure. Bradley Beal's been balling lately.
Again, Donovan Mitchell just worried about blowouts there. Edwards has been pretty rough going of late, so difficult to go there. If I saw with the laugh emojis.
It's a good Bain. It's a
Vassell 6K, and then it jumps down to DDV. The DDV Dort Contra grouping. We're fine with Vassell. If you want to play him, can
he's
always popular because he's, by the way. I mean, he's more talented than being a 6K player. It's just at this point he's a safer cash game play. Not that we're recommending like cash games and 4-game slates, but like you want a really nice floor play, like high floor play. Like Devin Vassell's a high floor play.
He's just one of those dudes too that can just score in bunches like really fast. When he has it going, he can score like a lot of points fast.
So there's Vassell, and then again we jump back down. Dante DiVincenzo's done a lot of good things of late. Did it against Houston, did it against San Antonio.
He has. Can
he do it against the Thunder tonight, I guess is the big question.
I mean, he's been really good. I'm definitely, if it's a scenario where it's him versus like a 4th or 5th Memphis guy, I would definitely take a shot on DDV, who's lower owned than just about all of them, right? Like, I get it. Contra, Kennard, Wells, they all have better eligibility. They all have the shooting guard, small forward eligibility that we long for. They're all cheaper than them. They have a shorthanded team. But there's no guarantee that any of those guys match the minutes that Dante DiVincenzo could play. Like, he's played high 30s minutes in back-to-back games because he's making shots. If he's making shots, he's just closing over Mike Conley. He's potentially closing over Jaden, depending on how the game flow is, over Jaden McDaniels, right? Or over Gobert if they remove, or Randall, like whatever iteration of lineup that they decide. I loved the DiVincenzo kind of pivot away from a lot of these Memphis guys because, and again, I think there's a lot to like about Memphis.
There's just some very low floors with the Jalen Wells, John Conchar,
very low
Kennards of the world here.
Correct. So like my expectation is, and why wouldn't we think it's basically the same starting 5, right? Where they do the Jaren Jackson at the 5 lineup with Conchar right? And then Bane, Wells, Pippen. You just have to like factor in like if they could just realistically play those guys 30 minutes and then Kennard's only getting 18 or whatever, and then we're gonna get to like Cam Spencer. Yeah. What does he play? And
the 27 minutes for Kennard in that last game too. A lot of fourth quarter minutes where that game was already over. So
correct, and that's kind of been where he's gotten minutes to begin with lately. Like they scored 155 points in that Toronto game. Luke Kennard played like 8 first half minutes. He played the final 15 minutes of the game, right? So like, and I get it. It's a different scenario. There was Ja Morant in that game, and Santi Aldama started that game, and there was who's the other guy who got hurt? Laravia was in that game playing a bunch. So like they are shorthanded. They are all going to play 20 plus minutes. But I just don't think you can definitively say any of them have as high a ceiling in terms of minutes as this version of Dante DiVincenzo. How about this, Sean? Okay. Let's do this exercise. Since we're at shooting guard, just click Memphis. Just go to the Memphis tab in general. Rank the Memphis shooting guards, not including Desmond Bane.
Marcus Smart.
Yeah, Smart for sure.
I mean, I don't know. Wells probably has their price. Maybe Concher's one. It's not. I mean, the rebound. This isn't going to happen again.
He is a good very good rebounder.
I mean, not 15 rebounds.
well, he's in a starting lineup with Jaren Jackson.
True.
Let's not forget that.
That's the probably Jalen Wells one. I might, and honestly, I may just play Kennard for shot maybe, but like, I don't really want to play John Concher. If I can avoid it, I would very much like to do so.
I think I'm ranking Jalen Wells last.
The shot,
I do.
I mean, the shot that might bite me. He's not hitting shots, but it's better.
That might, I know it might bite me in the butt for sure. I like the Concher minutes in playing 34 minutes in a start and blowout was great. I like the rebounds in a lineup that I think he might be literally the best rebounder in the starting lineup if it's not Desmond Bane, because it's not Jaren Jackson. I'll tell you that. And I, like you said, I like the spacing that Kennard provides, and I like that we're going to get a floor of 20 minutes, and he's the cheapest shooting guard small forward. So I think Jalen Wells is last for me. Not that I don't like Jalen Wells, but I think I would probably play Jalen Wells or play the other two over Jalen Wells. Now, let me ask you this. How many of them do you play Dante DiVincenzo over?
Probably all of them.
All of them? Okay. I agree.
Small forward. Beal, Bane, we talked about. Powell, Vassell, we've talked about. You got Hachimura at 54, but they have LeBron back. They have Dorian Finney-Smith now in the mix. I don't know what that does for Hachimura and his minutes. So we kind of like on a small slate, we were kind of right back to the players we just talked about a little bit, right?
Yes, same exact players.
We have Dort at 4,400, which we do like for a minutes ceiling. Wells and Contra are here. McDaniels, Strus, Christie, who's been playing a lot of minutes that we've talked about and should continue to see a lot of minutes. And then team reporter Dean Wade. Shout out to, I think, was it Josh in the chat last night?
Yeah, it might have been Josh.
I forget whom it was, but you asked us Wade or Derek Jones Jr. We're like, I don't know. It's a kind of a bigger slate. Like, I don't think in both had good games.
They both did.
Dean Wade doubled in the blowout. Derek Jones Jr. had 20 fantasy points. So hopefully you didn't let us knock you down too far off of that. I did say Dean Wade would be the play of the two. So you had the double there. I also took the over 6.5 points for Dean Wade tonight, over an underdog. So we'll see if that comes through. Because he plays, he's a shooter, he takes threes. We'll see. Where are you? I guess it's small forward here. Obviously, again, a lot of these guys have dual positional eligibility. you can just play 2 of these guys instead and not have to worry about the value tier.
I have nothing really to add. The only thing I would say is there's obviously possibly some run to be had for Ryan Dunn if Booker gets ruled out, because they also lost Royce O'Neal.
Sure.
That's a 10 p.m. game or 9 p.m. game with half your lineup probably already being there because it's Memphis. So like you have a lot of things to shift around, but it would require Devin Booker to be out for Dunn, because they're also going to get Grayson Allen back today. So I don't think you need to go there. Keldon Johnson. We didn't talk Keldon Johnson, but getting some ownership today. And I think it's kind of on the same line of thinking that we had on the previous show. It took Keldon Johnson's minutes completely went away because Harrison Barnes went 8 for 9, 3 of 4, 5 of 5 the other day. Harrison Barnes hadn't had 24 actual points combined in the 6 games prior. So, I am definitely taking a bet that Harrison Barnes does not repeat that, and we get more minutes from Keldon Johnson, who didn't even need the minutes to like smash value last time. Yeah. But if you get the 27 minutes from Keldon Johnson, 3,500, Keldon Johnson's he's gonna nuke that price tag. So I like that play quite a bit.
Sure. Power forward. Got LeBron, you got Durant, you got Jalen Williams here. Jaren Jackson Jr. as well, and Evan Mobley in the 8K and up tier. LeBron has obviously been ridiculous. Going to come back into the lineup tonight. But it's Cleveland. Obviously, he has some ties to Cleveland from maybe a motivational standpoint. What? But do you think that there's a worthwhile play for LeBron James tonight?
He is a good basketball player that could do a lot of good things. So,
is he in any of your builds tonight?
No, I mean, no. Like, I play Durant over him. And like if I'm playing LeBron, I probably have like the readiness that if Booker's ruled out, I'm playing Kevin Durant over him.
He's the second highest rostered spend up of the day.
LeBron?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is interesting.
Only a couple percentages behind Wemby. So.
All right, like we did, and again, I'm not going to sit here and say Cleveland's going to blow them out. Second leg of a back-to-back. They're traveling.
It's only like a 5-point spread.
It's only a 5-point spread. Said the same thing last night about Golden State. Golden State, they were up 30 in the blink of an eye. Right? It's like, and the Lakers have more firepower than Golden State, but like, dude, it's not like Cleveland's tired. No one had to play. Right. Donovan Mitchell played 25 minutes. Jared Allen played 24 minutes. Evan Mobley played 25 minutes. Like, so, if the Lakers can't score with Cleveland, then they're gonna get. I'm in, like, I think the price is too cheap for LeBron ultimately, but if you were to ask me LeBron versus Jaren Jackson, I'd play Jaren Jackson over him.
Sure. I mean, obviously Jaren Jackson last game wasn't the greatest. It was a blowout. He didn't hit a shot. It was a thunder. Some big performances prior to that. Blocks and steals, can be a big moneymaker for Triple J there as well. No Booker. Where does Durant fit in for you? Obviously, we think Booker is going to play, but without Booker, we've got some big performances out of him.
Yeah, he's right at the top of the list. I mean, a beat up Memphis team. Kevin Durant would probably be as good a spend up as there is on the board. Like as good as like Wemby per dollar, as good as SGA per dollar.
Yeah. You've been high on Julius Randle lately, but this is a Thunder matchup. Are you buying into that?
Large field stuff only.
Okay. Anybody else here power forward?
Nothing above 5K. Naz Reid in tournaments. You can always get to some Naz Reid. Derek Jones, 30 minutes in back-to-back games for Derek Jones, Sean.
Yep.
At $3,600. I mean,
I'm honestly surprised he's not higher rostered on this slate because of that fact.
Well, people are just gravitating to Memphis, and I'm wondering if people just don't believe that the minutes are going to stick, like because they haven't been consistent, right? They've been very.
Has something changed in that rotation all lately that would get him more?
Jordan Miller is out completely.
Right.
When I was doing that earlier, they just have axed Jordan Miller completely.
The upping his trade value before Kawhi comes back or something.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think Derek Jones is like we saw it with Dallas last year, like super valuable defender.
I mean, even in that Memphis game, sure, he played 22 minutes, but he took 11 shots.
Yeah, he did, dude. I think it's a interesting thing because him and Chris Dunn, they're just playing their starters, right? Like,
yeah,
you know what? They've kind of got away from the Kevin Porter stuff. His minutes are trending down.
Well, we talked about Kevin Porter, right? Like a lot of his minutes come in those blowouts because he's playing the whole fourth plus.
They played Mo Bamba 7 minutes last night. So think about this, right? There's clearly small ball lineups happening because Zubac's played 35, Bamba played 7. So they're playing 6 minutes of small ball last night. So
nothing.
No, no. So they're playing 6 minutes of small ball with Zubats and Bamba only getting to 42. That's helping Derek Jones too, because like I'm not saying that's directly going to Derek Jones, but like now, like if Nicholas Batum is your small ball center, or if they're playing Derek Jones is your like those are extra minutes for him. So I wonder
if this is where the Memphis Jones minutes went, right? Like Batum plays 28, Jones plays 22, Batum plays 20, and Jones is playing over 30 the last 2 games.
Memphis, I can just
so we have the information. We can look that up. So
yeah, Bamba only played 6, Zubats played 40. Derek Jones did not check in after his shift in the third quarter, and Batum played.
So that's probably where he lost out those minutes in that game.
It was just simply a game flow thing. He lost every minute the rest of the game. Batum played the final.
Well, I guess if that doesn't happen tonight, we should get 30 minutes out of Jones and 20 out of Batum then.
And if like, are you more comfortable playing 30 minutes of Derek Jones or one of like the Memphis backups? You know, like I feel like if Derek Jones is starting and getting 30 minutes,
and all that, like I'd play them all over those guys. So.
I don't disagree.
Right, center again. Wemby is your highest spend up play on the day today, for obvious reasons. He has 83, but if he only goes for 54 or 45 today, like you're going to be ahead of the field if you fade that.
Yep.
AD in terms of ownership here tonight, Anthony Davis is 16% to Wemby's 25, so definitely good leverage there. And you know, again, obviously a tough spot, but Davis is pretty elite in his own right. He's faced tough matchups. He's had a lot of success. Apparently, they play the Kings a ton.
They do play the Kings a lot.
I mean, this guy's giving you pretty consistently 60 plus. So, like, you know, you want to bank on 60 plus fantasy points tonight? Like, feels pretty good to get that out of Anthony Davis. Wemby obviously has like the 80, right? The 80 ceiling. So,
yes, it's like the Jokic conversation last night. Like. All these guys are good. Wemby has the.
I put it on Discord last night because I know there was some thoughts on Jokic last night. He's never too expensive at 12K because he can go for almost a 40, 20, 10 last night. I mean, that's not. I'm not even 99
with 4 steals. With 4
steals, points or something like that last night.
He's
never too expensive because that's what his ceiling can be. You know, Wemby's in the same boat. He's 11-6. He gave you 80 a couple slates ago. He's got multiple. He has the most 10 block games in NBA history already. He's played like
21 years old.
So, anyways, there's that.
And you said it last night. You said it correctly. And you were like, you caught yourself saying it. He's taken 30 shots in 2 of his last 3 games. Like he's like, this is not the Wemby, dude. Since that comment that you brought up about
someone said he's not a good offensive player.
He's just gone on like this. It's just
he read level. The NBA Central, Western Conference GM says that Wemby's not a difference maker on the offensive side of the ball. Whoop.
And he read it was Central, not Centel.
He took that personally. So. So you got those top guys there. We've kind of ran through most of this. Zubac and Hartenstein in the mid tier. Zubac has been ridiculous. Obviously, we'll have to deal with Wembanyama. Did have 17 and 13 in that game against them earlier this year. Now again, Wemby went for 70 in this spot. But Zubac is really good. Hartenstein's going to have to deal with Gobert. So not the greatest spot, but he's also been just very steady this year. So
he can just do so many different things, right? Like he can score, he can rebound, he can pass, he can block shot. Both of those guys are. I lean Zubac a little bit over Hartenstein for a little cheaper, but I think both are really solid in the mid tier.
Jared Allen 65, Rudy Gobert 64. Any thoughts?
My thoughts are that they are both fine. Jared Allen had a monster game against AD earlier in the year. It does make sense when you think about like you can put Mobley on LeBron, and Mobley matches up pretty good like athletically, and then you can have Jared Allen roam with AD. So like it should be ceiling minutes AD game. Like I looked, we were not joking about Cleveland bull racing everyone. They beat them by 34 earlier in the year.
In Cleveland,
34.
Still played 31 minutes in that game.
Or 24, whatever it was. 24.
And they still played 31 minutes and a 22 and 13 double there. So, and then we had a comment on the preview show, and we do encourage you guys to leave your comments in our preview shows as well. I said that Mason Plumlee was the key to the slate. I took the over 3.5 assists on Mason Plumlee tonight. Okay. If he's going to play like 26 plus minutes, like we know he's a really good passer. Or was it 2? It might have been 2.5 assists. Now I gotta double check. It was something in that range here. Is he the key to the slate though? A guy that took no shots last game? Okay.
No, not the key to the slate. I do think that there is viability to it, but let me just
2.5 assists, by the way, or
right?
2.5 assists.
2.5. That's a much better number. Let me just say, we know that Phoenix is not shy to go to their Kevin Durant small ball lineups, right? Memphis is playing. If they start Jaren Jackson at the 5, there is not a guarantee that Mason Plumlee is on the floor a lot tonight. So does that mean Iguodala's the counter? Maybe. Does that mean Kevin Durant at the 5? Possibly. So I'm not sure we get 26 minutes out of Plumlee. Like the more I thought about it after the show yesterday, the more I was thinking that my nasal congestion just got to my head. And I was like, I don't know if that's actually going to be the case. So like, while I do think that he is good while he's on the floor in terms of like production, there's definitely a live possibility. I'll say it for you, Grande. He plays minutes. I could have just said that. And I'm just being really long-winded about it. I could have just said that. But I did want to just say, like, there is the realistic chance that Phoenix just plays small. Sure. And, Plumlee's axed from the.
We did have to mention thoughts on DFS in Milton here. We touched on it earlier in the show. Jordan checking in. Do we have any sense of what their rotational minutes could be like tonight?
No, I mean, I think you get the starting 5 of Davis, James, Reeves, Hachimura, and Max Christie. That's been like their go-to starting 5. Finney Smith is going to play. He's going to get good run. I think like probably low 20s. Milton, low teens. So I don't think either of them are viable for fantasy purposes tonight. But like, obviously, D'Lo's minutes have been teeter-tottering anyway. So it's not like there's just like 30 minutes to suddenly, no, sometimes he plays and sometimes he's playing like 15. So I think they play 10 guys. They're getting Jackson Hayes back too. So they'll have a backup center. And I think 10, probably Christie, Finney Smith. Like Christie's probably the guy who gets bumped the most from Finney Smith minutes, but we'll see how that plays out tonight. Also, Jay Huff.
I was going to give the Jay Huff shout if you didn't give the Jay Huff shout.
Look, he is a fantasy per minute guy. He's through, but
how many minutes he plays? We don't know.
So
when we're all playing Zach Edey, he plays 24. But
correct. I think the interesting thing when you look at some of the rotations last game, John, they did not play Huff and Jaren Jackson together. They used them as direct backups to one another. They just wanted those two to be separate. So if you expect that to continue, right? Let me do this. How many minutes would you project Jaren Jackson to play tonight? That leaves 13 for J Huff if they don't overlap, right? Just all depends on what your opinion is on now that there's no Laravia, who played 14 minutes last game. They played Cam Spencer 22. What are the minutes going to look like? That's TBD. So, it all depends on how much you think they overlap. If you think they overlap at all, then you can play Huff. If you don't, and to your point, I think I projected Jackson slightly lower than that, only because they just don't extend them 35 against Pelicans. I gave him 34.5. So basically exactly what you said. I projected him at the same number. It just depends on what you think.
We said Randall was fine in tournaments, Warren. He's had some good games, had some not so good games. It's a tough. Jalen Williams, very athletic, very long, really good defender. You're just going to be
They all are. They're just all pressing in on
Randall.
And swarms of them.
Randall's a guy that, if he doesn't get it going early, he just checks out. He is a low effort player. It's been one of the dogs on him while he was basically shipped out of New York in the first place. And if Jalen Williams just hounds him in this game, he'll quit. So, fine, but not anything we're totally looking for. Then the Prince wants the key to the slate. What's the key to the slate? Is it like Scottie Pippen, or is it like?
No, because key to the slate, that's your highest roster guy of the slate. So I think on DraftKings, I think the answer is DiVincenzo. DiVincenzo is $6,000 on FanDuel. So I do not think that is the same.
Scottie Pippen's the highest FanDuel play, to your point. Let's see then. If we're looking like mid-tier key to the slates, again, no one's playing the guys that we kind of like in that range there, right? Norm Powell's under 20%. Donnie Mitch, if you think Cleveland plays a competitive game, they could, be Darius Garland is 10% on FanDuel, right?
They have the second highest implied team total of the day. FanDuel key to the slate for me,
SGA 7%
is
DiVincenzo's 3.6, but he's also 6K over there.
Yes. Dude, he's 6K. It's just impossible. It's impossible. He's 4,600 to 6K. It's impossible. I'll say this. I'll say Wemby being 30% on FanDuel with all the blocks and steals is hard to ignore.
Plus, there's over there, right? There's far less, for the centers at least, far less positional eligibility there. So,
yeah, and you can play Wemby power forward center. So I'd say you have to build around Wemby. And I'd say here's an out of the box thinking, right? You have to pick the 4 correct Grizzlies because there's 8 of them that are getting 20% higher rostership. 8. Pippen, Wells, Concher, Jackson, Bane, Kennard, Huff. So 7. You have to pick the correct 3, probably 4 to win the slate.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, let's build a lineup. I think we were in on Wemby, right? Just plugging in Wemby here. Wemby, Pippen. This is 50.
Wemby, Pippen,
DiVincenzo,
Kennard.
Okay, 6K.
It seems like you wanted to play Wells over Concher, so we could just play Wells in the guard or forward spot.
Wells, $6,600. Do you want to get a contrarian option in this lineup somewhere?
Yeah, the contrarian option for us is playing like a Norm Powell over a Desmond Bain. Even though I dropped the best
And
Bain
Norm 12%,
2024.
Garland 12%. Lou Dort's only 12%. Do you like Dort 4,400?
Well, this is a Memphis conversation, right? Do you think Dort outperforms the Memphis
I think he could.
I think that Dort is more secure than
you like Max Christie at 4K
as long as he's
over Dort.
No, I'm a little concerned with the Finney-Smith.
We had Derek Jones actually, right?
Derek Jones is really cheap.
Derek Jones here. All right, so that's 8,100 for forward and a util. So we can get Triple J here, and then that might give us Powell.
You know why? Because Triple J is not going to get the Ryan Dunn assignment. Ryan Dunn is going to guard this.
Example lineup for everybody here. For Memphis, we asked the question at the beginning of the show. We would be willing to play 5, but 4 is where we're at. Pippen, DiVincenzo, Kennard, Jones, Wemby, Wells, Jackson, and Powell. $200 left over. You can even move Norm to the guard if you want.
Yep.
Norm to the guard. That gives you 4,500 for a util. Play Nas, play Dort, play Wells, play Dunn, who's getting ownership here tonight. So Dean Wade can get a lot of different things going on there. All right, example lineup for all of you right here. Get in that Discord. Justin Carlucci's got your playbook out. Once again, we have our holiday sale going on for all of you who missed it earlier. 50% off for all of 2025. That's fantasyalarm.com/holiday. $19.98 a month includes access to all content, all draft guides, all cheat sheets, all year for 2025, and a Discord access. So you want to go talk to us in the Discord, get your lineups, get your core 4 to Prince. He's in the Discord all the time. We put that in there for you guys, our subscribers. So fantasyalarm.com/holiday, scan that QR code. Promo code FA Holiday should automatically populate. Just hit the add promo code button and join the family for 2025. Happy New Year to all of you. And James and I talk to you next. It will be 2025. Grande, final thoughts?
Happy New Year, everybody. Stay safe tonight. And let's win some money. And let's carry this awesome momentum we've had in 2024 into 2025.
Agree more. Talk to you all later, guys.